Gold bulls. Momentum says price is headed higher. I'm your host, Steven Van Metre, and thanks for joining me for part 2 of the Sunday Chart Show, where we look at the technicals and momentum of miners, metals, dollars, and bonds. And let's kick this off with GLD, because momentum is saying the price should be going a lot higher. We'll start out with the relative strength indicator, momentum indicator. What we're looking for is something that comes off of oversold condition down to 30 and then moves over 40. When you start seeing it move over 40, momentum's positive. And I want to point out that even though there's been a couple dips, maybe real close or slightly below 40, that the RSI has been consistently kind of moving along. Momentum's been building here. Now, it's not a real strong move, but I want you to notice the price has been real flat while momentum is starting to build. And that's a sign of a little bit of a divergence, and we can see that clearly in the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence signal, or a crossover strategy. What we're looking for is this black line to cross through the red line or the signal line. Upwards is positive, downwards is negative. But notice how momentum's building on the MACD here. And what do you see? Price relatively flat, so big indication there's some sort of deviation going on that will send price higher. How about Momentum Timer Pro? Uses 3 signals, looks for an RSI over 40, positive cross on the MACD, and its own internal signal. If you get 2 confirming signals, the daily signal flips to a buy. 5 trading days ago, Momentum Timer Pro said, hey, you should start building positions here because momentum is shifting. Now, gold is in a downtrend. How do we know that? The 3-month signal says none, and the 6-month signal says mid. So these are coming down. But we see us change now, changing the guard, because a 1-month signal sending at max is building up on the dailies, meaning the 3-month is about to flip back pretty soon to a minimum, and that means momentum is shifting to the upside. Momentum Timer Pro still amazingly free. Link up in the corner description below. You get your next report on Monday, along with a guidebook and some videos to help you learn how to use it. How about price? What do we see? The bigger picture. Price on the moving averages, 21-day 50 headed lower. Momentum flipped up now on 21-day, building higher. Look at this, all below the key moving averages. And you know, when price gets below moving averages, there usually is a move back toward them. So that's something you're looking for as an indicator that perhaps a counter rally in gold is about to happen. And let's take a look here at the charts. We've got the volume profile turned on. You can do this with your own charts, and you can see here this red bar is where the most shares have been traded recently over the last 2 years, and there's a lot of support at 1800. So you see price came down to 1800, came right back down just above it, and now it's flirting downward again. But buyers are coming in at higher and higher levels and following this kind of the 200-day moving average here in tan higher, while the 50-day is headed lower. You notice the 100-day is still higher. Let's look at that volume profile line. Let's zoom in. See the 6-month. So you can see this buyers and sellers kind of evenly split here over the last 6 months, really kind of duking it out. Let's kind of zoom in on the 90-day. And what do we see? Sellers above. How about the 30-day? Sellers just a bit above. And how about the 10-day? Well, there should be lower. And sure enough, you can see buyers are coming in the last 10 days looking to take this higher. And what I think is kind of notable is you see these larger moves down in gold, and eventually sometimes they lead to a bigger sell, but oftentimes they will lead to a big counter rally, blast through the moving averages. I still think your upside target is somewhere here around 1930 as an upside move. At least that's where the sellers were previously at. But notice buyers keep coming in at higher and higher level, higher lows. Good sign for gold. All right, let's take a look at the miners. We have GDX here. Notably, momentum not quite as strong as gold. Now, gold was kind of weak. I mean, it was just hovering around the 40, maybe closer to the 50 level, just going sideways. But notice the GDX went oversold here, built momentum, looked like price was going to rally. Price did, and then momentum slowed down a bit. But price came down quite a bit. So notice there's a bit of a divergence here because we're not back at oversold levels here at all, despite price being lower. How about the MACD? It's kind of saying the same story, that momentum slowed down a bit, but price really dropped. So you're looking at this divergence saying something's going to switch. Perhaps the momentum is going to lead higher, and that will see price jump with it. How about Momentum Timer Pro? Well, it's still sitting on a sell signal, so all you have to do is sign up, wait till the sell flips to a buy on the daily. And if you're a short-term trader, well, we know GDX is still in a downtrend, but maybe you like those short-term trades. If you're a longer-term trader, wait till the 1 and the 3 month signal build a lot more strength, and then you've got it. How about the bigger picture? Again, below all the key moving averages, so looking for some of a rebound rally off oversold conditions. Moving averages all trending down. Momentum's not that strong. Not a very good picture for GDX here, but maybe the chart suggests something else is about to happen. Here we are on the 2-year chart. We know the sellers are sitting here right around this 34.80 level, and prices come way off. And we'll note that when prices come way down on GDX in particular, you get this big shooting jump in prices. Price comes down, maybe rallies up a little bit, and then boom, and goes shooting higher. And that's because all the buyers are just accumulating, working through those sellers, and then you get that big reflexive bounce. And I'd be looking for that case here, because when you get down in this $30 level, and now particularly below that, it signaled a big opportunity. In fact, we look over the last 5 years, unless GDX is about to list just straight dump lower, there should be an opportunity for buyers to come in here. Let's look at the volume profile in the 6-month window. Notice how tight this is now. The buyers coming in at these nice low levels every time. How about 90-day? What do you see? Sellers above. How about 30-day? Sellers above. 10-day should be, ooh, isn't that interesting? See sellers above. So buyers have got some work cut out for them, but perhaps all that buying pressure, maybe gold will lead it higher. We'll find out. All right, how about silver? What we see on silver, kind of a similar story. Price just going sideways, not really any meaningful move on price. But notice momentum here. It's still building. There's positive momentum. Not a ton, but still it's building momentum. Price not reflecting that. How about the MACD? Look at that. Just a brief cross here to the downside. Momentum is slowing, but not reflecting the fact that price here is flat. Momentum Timer Pro trying to pick that move up. It's trying to find some buy signals. It's building signals in here. But notice silver being in a downtrend, 3-month signal and 6-month signal. We have a none and a mid, but the 1 month is building. As momentum builds up, eventually price responds. And what we see is pretty ugly. The only thing that's bullish is momentum on the 21-day moving average. Of course, we know when these things get real red, opportunities come knocking. Let's take a look at silver here and see. We have this potential small double bottom here. Could be a nice move back up to the 50-day moving average as buyers come in here. I mean, big picture, there's just not a lot of trading volume here. The risk, obviously, to silver is a downside, but of course, we know people are pretty bullish on this and will look to make a move higher. It has not confirmed the downside of the backside of this 50-day moving average on this move down, or the 200 or 100-day moving average, suggesting that perhaps the bulls coming back in at the same price point will take prices higher, but I don't know for how long that party will last. Overall, you still have to look at this as a broader topping pattern, so look for any moves here to keep your tights relatively tight, or to keep your stops relatively tight on any rebound on silver here, but look for it because momentum's building. How about the dollar? The wrecking ball for metals and miners at some point, and a lot of people got scared about the dollar because momentum slowed down. And it's really key is just because momentum slows and price come down doesn't mean it's over. We've seen that happen before, particularly with the energy sector. Momentum then built up, became overbought, slowed down a little bit. Signaling still, though, there's a lot of room left for the dollar to rally. How about the MACD? Same story. Now, a nice positive cross here brought with that price higher and slowing down. Maybe we'll get a negative cross here. But the other side is momentum is still building to the upside. Momentum Timer Pro nailed that call 10 days ago. If you were on the list, all you had to do is take a flyer on that. What do we see here? It's in an uptrend. How do we know? The 3 and 6 month signals are flashing mid. The short-term signal on the 1 month is none. So look for this to flip at some point to a minimum and say that there's buying pressure, momentum building to the upside in the dollar. And what do we see here? Other than below the 9-day moving average and the 21-day being momentum being bearish, a strong picture of end case for the dollar. Let's look at UUP and then we'll look at DXY. Here's UUP over the last 5 years. Here's that bottom that no one thought was a bottom, but the volume told us that. We see price shooting higher. How about the 2-year mark? You see a beautiful bottoming pattern again, supported by, of course, the volume profile. What do we let's zoom in. What do we see over the last 10 days? Sellers above as they try to push price down. How about 30 days? Prices or buyers below. That's your case for the dollar, is buyers are sitting down here, buying up every move. Maybe this comes down, just reconfirms against the 50-day moving average. Not really a big deal if it does that in the broader context of where the dollar's going. How about DXY? Well, I still think you've got to move at least to 107. After that, you're looking, this thing's going to go higher. Take UUP up with it. So keep an eye on that. Dollar remains bullish as can be. How about bonds? Well, not a big story here on bonds. We do know went from finally a oversold condition, which has been oversold. Momentum's building again. Will this time be the time that it finally gets a lift off from this bottom? So we see the RSI building sitting at 44. How about the MACD? Well, it came down a little bit here. Price took a big drop, and now we have a nice positive cross momentum building on the MACD. That's nice. Momentum Timer Pro, coveted buy signal after a sell signal. So when you see a string of sells and then flips to a buy, turns gold. These are higher probability short-term trades, but notably, this isn't a downtrend. So if you're a longer-term investor, you don't want to touch this yet. You want to wait, particularly until the 3-month signal gets to minimum. So we should be next looking for this 1 month to get back into a minimum and then start building from there. But this could be a nice short-term trade if you're a short-term trader. Let's take a look at TLT and see if we can find where the volume is sitting at. So 2-year mark, I mean, we know this thing's been a downtrend, but notably as we zoom in, let's look at the 1-year chart. Notice how the 21 days is starting, price is starting to butt up against it more frequently. It's starting to slow the pace of the 21-day moving average down, and that's a positive sign. So on Friday, when it got rejected, the 21-day, not really a big deal. What you want to start seeing next is moves above the 21-day moving average, maybe butt into the bottom of the 50-day moving average and start to decelerate this move down and put in a bottom. That's what you really want to see. And if we zoom into the 10-day volume profile, you see buyers are definitely sitting here below. There's a big argument that due to quarter end rebalancing that this could only go down, but so far we haven't seen any sign that that is having a major impact. If we look at the 30-day window, you see sellers clearly above here. So as the price works above that 116, and let's look at where the 21-day moving average is at, it's at 114, and you have 116 is now where your 50-day moving average is at. So looking for this is establishing a bottom. If you're just a trader, you can take a flyer of this. If you're a long-term investor, just hang tight. Not for you. All right, let's look at we didn't need to look at the big picture. We already know. It's red. No big deal there. How about the energy sector? You want to see this come down if you're going to be bullish on a trade in bonds. Sure enough, price on XLE coming down. Went very quickly from overbought down to oversold conditions. How about the MACD just straight down there, momentum pointing to the downside, and all of a sudden this was all green not long ago, and now we're just looking at what is left is green. 100-day moving average still trending up, no surprise there. 6, 9, and 12-month momentum still positive. But for how long? Probably not very long. If you want to know what Momentum Timer Pro thinks, you got to sign up and get your report on Monday. Let's zoom out here because the story of XLE is how it goes plunging. So if you're a short seller, you like playing the short side, you should be very interested in what's going on with XLE. And what you're looking for here is probably a rebound back up into the $70-some range. And maybe it fights, you see, kind of fights it out here as the last of the buyers, get bullish on oil. Sellers are getting out, and the next thing you know, this thing goes plunging down to 55.25. So if you're on the short side of the market, this is interesting. If you're a long investor, well, you're probably not too interested in this. Notably, sellers sitting above the current price on the 10-day window and above on the 30-day window. So telling you and validating that the broad move for XLE is lower. Short term may see some bounces back up here, like I said, into this little chunk of volume, maybe 74, 75, 76, and then watch out below as those buyers get worked out. Hey, I'm Steve Van Metre. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being fans. Bye now.